All right, let's rewind the clock and meet the Chen family. Your classic immigrant success story with a dark underbelly just waiting to bubble up. It all starts with the patriarch, Henry Chen, and his wife, Margaret, who'd spent their lives building a tight-knit clan. Their son, James, was the golden boy, smart, driven, and the kind of guy who'd make you jealous just hearing about his life. Back in 1989, James and his wife, Sarah, packed up their dreams and landed in Sydney from China, chasing that Australian promise of a fresh start. They kicked things off a little corner store, hustling day and night, until they hit the jackpot with a news agency in North Epping, about 19 kilometers northwest of Sydney's glitzy skyline. We're talking a business pulling in over $1 million a year. Serious cash for a family that started with nothing. James and Sarah had 3 kids. Emily, the eldest, born just as they were finding their footing in '94, followed by Ethan and Noah, 2 rambunctious boys who'd light up any room. Life was good, stable, even idyllic. James didn't stop at his own success, though. He brought his parents over in 2000, buying them a cozy place in Maryland, a 30-minute drive away. Every Friday, like clockwork, he'd load up the family minivan, Sarah, the kids, the works, and head over for dinner with Henry and Margaret. Picture it. Steaming dumplings, laughter bouncing off the walls, kids chasing each other around the table. It was their ritual, a slice of home in a foreign land. Then there's James's younger sister, Lisa, and her husband, Mark Wong. James played the big brother card again, sponsoring them to join the Aussie Dream in 2001. Lisa and Mark tried their hand at a Chinese restaurant in Melbourne, but it tanked after 3 years. Broke and out of options, they moved to Sydney. Lisa snagged a local job, but Mark, he couldn't catch a break. Unemployed, restless, and stuck at home while Lisa brought in the crumbs. They scraped together enough to buy a house just a few hundred meters from James's place, close enough to pop over for tea or borrow a lawnmower. Mark even took Ethan, James's older son, to the park sometimes, tossing a ball around like the cool uncle he wanted to be. The Chen family was tight, really tight. James's news agency wasn't just a job. It was a dynasty. His dad, Henry, and sister, Lisa, pitched in there, keeping the shelves stocked and the cash flowing. Friday dinners at Henry and Margaret's became a sacred tradition. James, Sarah, the kids, Lisa, Mark, all gathered around a table pile high with food. Henry would beam, saying how his kids had shown him more of Australia than most locals ever saw. Opera House, Harbour Bridge, even the hidden beaches tourists never find. It was picture perfect, right? A hard-working family thriving against the odds. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming. Mark, the odd man out, wasn't thriving. Once a doctor back in China. Yeah, a legit ear, nose, and throat guy. He'd crashed and burned in Australia. His credentials didn't translate. His restaurant flopped, and his dabbling in stocks? A disaster that left him in the red. While James's star kept rising, Mark sank lower. He'd sit there at those Friday dinners, forcing a smile as James talked about the news agency's latest profits or the family's weekend getaways. Henry and Margaret didn't hide their disappointment either. Mark wasn't the son-in-law they bragged about back home. That resentment, it was simmering, and nobody saw how hot it'd get until it boiled over. So by July 2009, you got this, a family that looks like a postcard from the outside. Successful, loving, united, but inside there's tension. James is the king of his castle. Mark's the guy who can't even find the throne. And that news agency, it's not just a business. It's a prize that about to turn this family saga into a horror show. What happens next is where the fairy tale ends and the nightmare begins. Now, let's zoom in on that fateful night, July 17th, 2009. It's a Friday, which means the Chen family's got their usual dinner plans at Henry and Margaret's place. The air's crisp, the wind's howling outside, but inside it's warm and loud, typical Chen chaos. James is there with Ethan and Noah, swapping stories with his parents and Lisa. Mark's tagging along too, playing the part of the dutiful brother-in-law. Sarah's a no-show this time. She's back home with her sister Rachel, who's been crashing at their place and helping out at the news agency. Emily, the 15-year-old Spitfire, is off on a summer school trip in New Caledonia. Lucky break. As it turns out, dinner wraps up around 9 p.m. James, always the early riser, heads out first. He's got to open the news agency at 6 a.m., so he piles Ethan and Noah into the car and drives the 30 minutes back to North Epping. Mark offers to bring the boys home later, giving them a lift in his beat-up sedan. Ethan, the 12-year-old, stops at the door, his shoes busted. "Grandma, my laces snapped," he calls out. Margaret, ever the doting grandma, digs out a spare pair and promises to fix the old ones tomorrow. It's a sweet little moment, the kind you'd never think would be their last. Back at the house, everything seems normal. James crashes early. Sarah and Rachel are probably chatting over tea, and the boys are tucked in upstairs. The place is a 2-story deal. Downstairs is all open plan. Kitchen, dining, living room. Upstairs, you got the bedrooms branching off a hallway. James and Sarah's master is on the right. Rachel's borrowed room next. Then Ethan and Noah's shared space. And finally Emily's empty room at the end. Quiet settles in, the kind of stillness you'd expect in a sleepy suburb. Fast forward to Saturday morning, July 18th. The news agency's dark. No James. No paper stacked out front. Nothing. By 9 a.m., regulars are grumbling. No morning headlines. No coffee run chats. Someone phones James. No answer. A former employee gets worried and calls Lisa. She grabs Mark, and they hightail it to James's place. The front door is unlocked. Weird, but not alarming yet. They step inside, and it's dead silent. No clattering pans. No kids yelling, just an eerie hush. They poke around downstairs. Empty. Up the stairs they go, and that's when it hits them. James and Sarah's bedroom door is ajar, the room dim with curtains drawn. Lisa edges closer and freezes. Blood splattered on the walls like a horror movie set. Sarah sprawled on the bed, her face a mess of red, half her body dangling off the edge. Lisa screams. Mark pulls her back, and they stumble into the hall. More blood, pools of it. They check Rachel's room. She's crumpled on the floor, lifeless. Then the boys' room. Ethan and Noah, gone, their small bodies battered beyond recognition. Panic takes over. Lisa's hands shake as she dials 911, her voice cracking. 55A Boundary Road, it's a house. Someone's killed my brother, I think. Send help. Cops and paramedics swarm the scene. For bodies upstairs, all dead for hours, blunt force trauma to the head and face. Some choked out too. Then, under a blanket in the master bedroom, they find James. Missed at first, but just as gone. The Chun house is a slaughterhouse, and the neighborhood's buzzing with sirens and gawkers. Henry and Margaret race over, but the police hold them back at the corner. They're sobbing, clinging to a shred of hope that James is alive, until 4 p.m. when the cops break the news. He's dead too. 5 lives snuffed out in one night. The scene's a mess. Blood from floor to ceiling. Faces smashed beyond ID. No break-in, no robbery, just pure, cold-blooded murder. Who would do this to a family like the Chens? And why? The answers are coming, but they're darker than anyone could have guessed. So, the cops are standing in this blood-soaked house, scratching their heads. It's July 18th, 2009, and the Chun family's been wiped out. James, Sarah, Rachel, Ethan, and Noah, all gone. The scene's straight out of Nightmare. Walls painted red, bodies mangled, but not a single window smashed or door kicked in. No cash missing, no jewelry swiped. Nothing to suggest a random hit. This was personal. And the killer knew what they were doing. Power's off at the main switch. Smart move. Keeps the lights low and the neighbors clueless. Whoever did this walked in like they owned the place and walked out clean. The forensics team gets to work. They find 24 footprints. Size 8.5 to 10.5. Asics sneakers. Same pattern all over the house. No fingerprints, though. Gloves. Obviously. The murder weapon? Probably a hammer or something heavy. Heads don't cave in like that from a fist. The order's chilling. James and Sarah first, ambushed in their sleep. Rachel next, maybe waking up to noise. Then the boys. Ethan might have tried to bolt, but no chance against this monster. Blood trails show the kid stirred, stumbled, fell. It's calculated, ruthless, and overfast. Emily, the daughter, gets a call overseas. She's 15, blissfully unaware, until a friend scrolls the news on their phone. She's on the next flight back. guarded like a VIP. Cops aren't sure if the killer is still hunting. The news agency reopens weeks later under new management, and on August 9th, the family holds a memorial at Sydney Olympic Park. 3,000 people show up. Flowers, tears, the works. But the question lingers. Why? Theories start flying. Maybe it's a mix-up. Some guy named Daniel Chun, a smuggler from Fujian, got busted years back for sneaking 69 Chinese immigrants into Australia. He ratted out a Hong Kong triad, got out of jail, and maybe they wanted revenge. James's name sounds close enough, both 40-something Chens. But Henry shuts that down. Triads don't screw up this bad. They'd know my James wasn't their guy. Fair point. James wasn't exactly hiding. Everyone in North Epping knew him. Another angle. James saw something he shouldn't have. Back in May, he'd watched a cash van get jacked outside the Epping Club. Bold daylight stuff. He even talked to a TV crew about it. Did the robbers come back to silence him? Or maybe the news agency was a front, dealers using it to pass notes or stash drugs, and James caught on. Cops chase every lead, digging through James's life. Friends, enemies, bank records. Nada. The guy was clean, loved, a pillar of the damn community. Weeks turn into months, and the case is a media circus. Reporters camp out, locals lock their doors, and the cops are stumped. No witnesses, no CCTV jackpot, just those footprints, and a gut feeling this wasn't random. The Chun house sits empty, a grim monument to a mystery that's got everyone asking. Who hated this family enough to erase them? The answer's closer than they think, and it's about to blow the lid off everything. All right, let's get to the juicy part. Where the cops start sniffing around Mark Wong, Lisa's husband and James's brother-in-law. It's late 2009, and the investigation's hitting walls left and right. Those early theories, triads, robbers, drug lords, fizzle out with no proof. But then, something clicks. The killer didn't break in, didn't steal a dime, and skipped Emily's room like they knew she was gone. This wasn't a stranger. This was someone who'd sat at the Chin dinner table, shared their dumplings, and smiled at their kids. Mark's name pops up, and it's not hard to see why. He's got the keys, literally. He's been in and out of James's house a million times. Knows the layout like his own. He knew Emily was off in New Caledonia. Hell, he probably waved her off with a grin. And those footprints, size 9-ish, Asics sneakers, marks a match, though he's cagey about it. The cops start watching him, and his story's got holes he could drive a truck through. Rewind to the morning of the discovery. Lisa and Mark roll up to James's place after the news agency no-show. Lisa's freaking out. Mark's oddly calm. Hugs her from behind in the bedroom. Says, "Don't look." Thing is, from where he's standing, he can't even see Sarah's body. How'd he know it was bad? Then he bolts. Leaves Lisa there, shaking, to go fetch Henry and Margaret. Lisa's begging him to stay, but he's out the door. Henry later says it took Mark way longer than the usual 30-minute drive to get them. Where'd he go? Cops think he might have ditched something. A hammer, bloody clothes. Who knows? Motive? Oh, it's a doozy. Mark's a walking mess of envy and desperation. Back in China, he was a hotshot doctor. Guangzhou University, class of '86, cutting ears and throats like a pro. But in Australia, nothing. His degree's useless, his restaurant a bust, and his stock bets tanked hard. Meanwhile, James is raking it in, living the dream Mark thought he'd have. Henry and Margaret don't sugarcoat it. They think Mark's a loser, and he knows it. That stings. Add money to the mix. James's estate, house, news agency, millions, is up for grabs, and Emily's the heir. Mark offers to adopt her hours after the bodies are found, before James is even confirmed dead. Creepy, right? Cops figure he wants control. Raise Emily, sway her. Cash him before she's 18. Then there's the creepy uncle vibe. Emily's still a kid, but Mark's always been too close. Taking Ethan to the park, lingering near her at family stuff. After the murders, he's pushing to take her in, and Henry and Margaret say no way. She's theirs. Mark's pissed, but he keeps smiling. The cops dig deeper, and Mark's alibi is shaky. He says he was home with Lisa all night, TV, shower, bed. Lisa backs him up. "I'm a light sleeper. He didn't leave." But she flip-flops later. admits she can't be sure. Cameras catch them plotting, Mark coaching her on what to say. Sketchy as hell. By May 2010, the net's tightening. Mark trashes a shoebox. Asics, size 9.5. Cuts it up, flushes it. Why, if he's innocent? Then a bombshell. A tiny bloodstain in his garage. Mixed DNA from 4 victims. It's game on now. Mark's not just a suspect. He's the guy. But proving it? That's where this story gets wild. So, the cops are zeroing in on Mark Wong, and the evidence is stacking up like a house of cards ready to topple. It's 2010, almost a year since the Chin family got wiped out, and Mark's smug little world is about to crack wide open. Let's break it down, because this is where the puzzle pieces snap together, and it's as chilling as it is clever. First, those footprints. 24 of them all over James's house, size 8.5 to 10.5, ASIC sneakers. Mark's a fit, and he knows it. In early 2010, cops leaked to Lisa they've matched the tread. Next thing you know, Mark's in a panic, caught on hidden cameras shredding an ASIC size 9.5 shoebox, soaking it, flushing it down the toilet. Innocent guys don't do that. Why not just toss in the trash? Because he's scared. Scared the shoes he wore that night are still out there, screaming his guilt. Then, October 2010 rolls around, 10 months after murders, and the cops hit gold. They're combing Mark's place again, and under the garage window, they spotted a 2 by 0.6 centimeter stain labeled Sample 91. It's blood, and not just any blood. DNA from James, Sarah, Rachel, and one of the boys all mixed together. How's that get there unless Mark tracked it home? Experts say it's a transfer stain, maybe from his shoe, his pants, or the hammer he swung. He'd washed his car that morning. Way too early for a Saturday, probably scrubbing away more evidence. That stain's a smoking gun, but it's tricky. Found so late, it's a legal hot potato. Mark's behavior doesn't help his case. That day Lisa found the bodies, he's acting weird. Calm when she's losing it. Bolton get Henry and Margaret when any sane person would stick around. Henry swears Mark took longer than usual. Maybe he swung by a dumpster or a creek to ditch the weapon. And that adoption pitch for Emily? Way too eager, way too soon. Cops see a plan. Kill the family, control the kid, grab the cash. Greed's written all over it. Then there's the creepy stuff. Emily, now living with Henry and Margaret, starts opening up in 2011. She tells the lawyers Mark's been off for years. Too touchy, too close, even before the murders. After she moves in with him and Lisa post-tragedy, it gets worse. Lingering looks, accidental brushes. One night, Henry catches Mark outside her room at midnight. Claims he's checking on her. Bull. The cameras cops planted in Mark's house catch more. Small moves, nothing blatant, but enough to make your skin crawl. Emily's scared, and it's not just grief talking. The alibi is a bust too. Mark says he was home all night. Lisa swears it. Says she'd wake if he moved. But she crumbles under questioning. By March 2010, she's dodging. I don't know if he left. How would I remember? Caught on tape. Mark's coaching her, telling her what to say, how to dodge the cops' traps. She's loyal, but she's slipping and it's killing Mark's defense. The big break comes in jail. After his arrest in May 2011, cops plan a snitch, call him Eddie. Eddie's a pro, promise cash, and a lighter sentence to get close. By 2014, he's got Mark spilling. Over beers in their cell, Mark brags. Bought a $2 hammer from a no-camera store, slipped Lisa a sedative, did the deed. He even floats bribing a dirty cop to plant fake DNA. Eddie plays along, records it all. It's damning, but Mark's team cries foul. Eddie's a liar, they say. Put it together. Footprints, blood, a trash shoebox, a flimsy alibi, and a confession, plus a motive dripping with envy and a sick twist toward Emily. Mark's cooked, right? Not so fast. The courtroom's where this gets messy, and it's a roller coaster you won't believe. All right, buckle up, because getting Mark Wong behind bars wasn't a straight shot. It was a marathon through a legal jungle. It's May 5th, 2011, and the cops finally cuff him. 2 years after the Chun murders, with that garage bloodstain and Eddie's tapes in their pocket. Mark's screaming, "I'm innocent," but the evidence says otherwise. What follows is a wild ride. For a trial 7 years, and enough drama to fill a Netflix series. First trial kicks off March 17, 2014. Eddie takes the stand, spinning Mark's jailhouse confession. The $2 hammer, the sedatives, the whole bloody plan. Emily drops a bomb too, says Mark's been harassing her since she was a kid, worse after the murders. She's 20 now, shaking but fierce, telling the court he's a predator. Henry backs her up, recalls that midnight creep outside her room. The prosecution's got the bloodstain, the footprints, the shredded shoebox. Case closed, right? Nope. Mark's lawyer flips it, says the blood could have been planted. Eddie's a crook who'd lie for a buck, and harassment? Just misunderstood affection. The jury split, can't agree. Mistrial. August 2014, round 2, canceled. The judge gets sick, and it's back to square one. February 2015, trial 3. Same story, new twists. Mark's team doubles down. The blood's too old, maybe contamination. Eddie's a career snitch. They lean on Mark's bond with Ethan. How could he kill his buddy? Jury deliberates 11 days. Still deadlocked. The judge boots them, and Mark's out on bail by December 8, 2015. $100K, ankle monitor, house arrest. For years in jail and he's free? The Chens are livid. June 2016, trial 4, the big one. The judge says majority rules this time. No more hung juries. Evidence piles up. Blood DNA is solid. Eddie's tapes hold. Emily's testimony cuts deep. Mark's defense flails. Claims multiple killers, blunt wounds, and choking. Says he's framed. But the jury's done. January 13th, 2017, after 7.5 years, the verdict lands at New South Wales Supreme Court. Guilty, 5 counts of murder. Life without parole, Australia's max, no death penalty here. Mark yells, "I didn't do it," and files an appeal. February 2021, it's shot down. Case closed. The courtroom's a war zone, but justice lands. Slow, messy, but final. Mark's lockaway, and the Chen family story takes a new turn. One of healing, not just horror. So, here we are, January 2017. Mark Wong's locked up for life, and the Chun family's nightmare finally has an ending. But it's not a clean fade to black. It's messy, raw, and leaves you thinking long after credits roll. Let's wrap this up and see where everyone lands. Emily's the heart of this aftermath. She's 23 when Mark's convicted. 7.5 years since she lost her parents, her aunt, her little brothers. At the trial, she reads her victim statement, voice steady but eyes wet. 7 years without mom's hugs, dad's advice, Ethan and Noah's laughs. I graduated high school, college, got my first job, learned to drive alone. She's tough, though, moves in with Henry and Margaret, rebuilds step by step. By 2025, she's thriving. Friends, therapy, a life snatched back from the edge. Henry and Margaret? They're broken but clinging to Emily like she's their lifeline. After the verdict, they visit the cemetery, whispering to James and the others. We got him. Their house, sold cheap in 2012, sits empty no more, but the memories linger. They cut ties with Lisa, who's still in denial, chasing lawyers to free Mark. She's a ghost of them now, a reminder of betrayal. Mark's in Long Bay Prison, rotting. He's 54 at sentencing, still claiming he's innocent, but no one's buying it. Lisa's out there, alone, peddling his story to anyone who'll listen. Says he's a loving man framed by bad luck. Most see her as blind. Some pity her, stuck loving a monster. What's it all mean? Mark's a study in rot. Jealousy turned him from a washed-up doctor into a killer. He envied James, lusted after Emily, and chased a fortune that wasn't his. Greed and spite lit the fuse. That hammer just finished the job. Emily's the flip side. Proof he can crawl out of hell and stand tall. And justice? It's slow, flawed, but it hit hard when it landed. The story's a gut punch. Cherish what you've got, watch who you trust, and no evil can wear a familiar face. The Chens paid the price. We just get the lesson.